Welcome to New York. Welcome at Harry's, most amazing office. Who have not only Harry's actually does razors and bought a German production company a couple of years ago. So there's a really from heart connection to it. And actually, Maggie and Rachel are showing us around. So let's have a look. Hi. So nice to meet you. Hi, Katinka.
Really nice to meet you.
You know Antonia already.
Nice to meet you again.
Hi, Maggie. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
So, last time you were with Christoph and Michael.
Correct.
Right? Thanks for having us. Rachel from Harry's. You actually have a German location as well.
We do, yes. When we were about a 9-month-old startup, we acquired our then 93-year-old German factory, which was a crazy thing to do. In hindsight, it's worked out incredibly well, but a lot of people thought we were crazy at the time. And so that was, I have lots of stories about the process of integration and how that worked culturally, but yeah.
How did you actually, just for me quickly, because I don't even know, how did you run into the company? I mean, a company that, you're a company 9 months old, there's a company 90-something years old, and you meet and you're like, hey, let's do something together.
I wish it worked that easy.
No.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Without getting too specific or into the details, making razor blades is actually really hard to do. And so when Jeff and Andy, our founders, were first developing the idea behind Harry's as a business and doing some early modeling and understanding our customers, it all made sense. It was a smart business to them, except the real challenge and roadblock they faced was, how are we going to actually supply these blades? There are very few independent manufacturers of razor blades in the world, and so they thought that they might have to put a bullet in the idea of Harry's because they couldn't find a great supplier. So they were doing like trial and error on their own faces and using bad blades.
Do they still like?
I think they're okay now, but it was a real question and challenge. And then finally they found Fine-Technic, which was a supplier of many of the private label or white label store brands throughout Europe. And
I didn't know that we had such a brand in Germany.
Yeah, they've been around for a really long time, and because they supply private label, they're not a brand themselves, so many people don't know that they supply Lidl, DM, Aldi, a lot of the big store brands in Germany and throughout Europe. And so they made a relationship with the factory, they placed an initial order, but really as soon as we discovered how hard it was to make blades, we had this idea of an acquisition in the back of our minds to mitigate risk to the supply chain, certainly, but also because we were getting all this great feedback from our customers in terms of how we could improve. And it's very much part of our culture and part of our team to want to improve and make things better and serve our customers better every day. And so by acquiring the factory, we were able to actually do that and vertically integrate and make sure that as we were getting great insights and feedback, we could actually incorporate that back into design. And so raised $100 million to buy a factory in January of 2014. And so now we have an office in Germany, which is our manufacturing site. We have our office here in New York, which has about 275 people today.
On this floor?
And growing, all on this floor. And then we have an office in the UK as well.
Yeah. And how do you integrate those other locations in here? Is it integrated? Is there like, I don't know, a wall or something where you can go to and have the vibes of the other locations? Or
that's a good question. We try to do that through our onboarding and through the way, right off the bat, whenever you come to work at Harry's, at least in New York, you get the perspective of Germany, you get the perspective of the UK.
Because it is a part of this company identity, right?
It is, and I can show you a wall of pictures we have. When you first walk in, we went a kind of a side route, but we have almost like a museum of pictures from the history of Harry's.
Oh, nice.
And we have pictures from the factory. We try to do it in what feels like to us is an authentic, organic way. We don't have like a wall of faces, but we definitely do try to incorporate it through our art and through our pictures and then through our systems and technology. So we are well aware that we're a global company. In every conference room, we have life-sizing capabilities, which allows us to make a quick video call to any of our other offices. We try to make it not just present in the physical space, but really easy to connect and communicate across our global offices.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that. It was really. I mean, besides besides the fact that it looks nice, it's also, I hate all the cables going on like most of the time.
Yeah. We try to make it easy, and it's something that has taken us time. So when we first were kind of merging and integrating as a company, we didn't have this technology. And so we realized that as much as everyone wants kind of fun images of the other offices and swag, and we trade notebooks and t-shirts and all of that fun stuff, really what you need is good technology that allows you to work effectively. And that is the kind of foundation of a successful relationship. Oh, you don't have to fly back and forth every week if you want to get work done.
Did you fly to Germany to see the? Oh, you did.
I did. Yeah, I've been to Germany. I don't know, probably 12 or 15 times.
Oh wow!
Over the course of a little over 5 years that I've been with Harry's.
Okay.
Especially as we were first trying to integrate teams, integrate culture. It was a real project, and we didn't use any external consultants or external folks, although in hindsight maybe we should have, but we were trying to manage that all ourselves.
So what was your background that made you, able to, with your very young age, to merge all these people into one team?
I was by no means the only person doing this. I was, on a team of people, and really everyone in the company at the time had some role in building that relationship globally. And so one of the things I love about working at a startup is that you're not always qualified for the job that you're doing in kind of traditional terms. I learned a lot, I asked a lot of questions, and I think that was in some ways the approach that everyone took. Jeff and Andy, our founders, Jeff had founded another business, and they both had MBAs and professional careers before Harry's, but they are by no means experts in acquisitions at the time of the acquisition, so we were all kind of learning together. Same on the German side. It was a new learning experience for the leadership team in Eisfeld as well.
So you are allowed to make mistakes also? How is that?
Oh yeah, we have to make mistakes. It's a good question, and we've been lucky that there haven't been any kind of existential mistakes, catastrophic mistakes. But yeah, we do have a culture of learning, which means a culture of failure. And as long as you learn from your failure, then it's okay, and it's something that we always want to improve. Actually, one of our values is around learning and improving, and I think we take that seriously. And we know that if you're doing new things, if you're trying new things, if you're being innovative, a lot of the times you'll make a mistake along the way. And the trick is not avoiding mistakes, but rather identifying when you've made a mistake, not continuing to go down a path that doesn't work, and then learning from that and sharing the learnings. We have a practice here that we call doing a retro on something. So after a project or an initiative or a program or anything really, we pause, we come together as a team, and we say, let's reflect on this project. What went well? What didn't go well? And then what are we going to do differently next time as a result? And practices like that are very much a part of our culture.
Wow, well, sounds too good to be true almost.
And it doesn't make it feel any better when you've made a mistake. It still feels bad. And you're like, oh, I wish that I had done this differently, or next time.
But it's a matter of how your colleagues deal with it, right? So.
Yeah, and it's something that we try to train people to do. So through our onboarding, we have a program that we call monthly Mammoth Rounds. The mammoth is kind of our little symbol of Harry's.
I saw it on the book.
Yeah, and it came from an early campaign we did where we said shaving is evolving, and then it had a mammoth turning into an elephant because it kind of shaved. I don't know, it was silly, but it stuck.
No,
it stuck with us.
It's cute.
And so we call it monthly Mammoth Rounds, and during that time we onboard new hires into not just like this is where your desk is and this is our company history, but like this is how we do things here. This is how we think about our culture. This is our social impact program. This is how we think about the brand. This is how we think about our strategy. And one of the things we do is we practice leading a retro. And so we practice that art of learning from failures and mistakes and turning that into improvement. And that's pretty core to our culture.
I would love to know more about the social impact program that you just mentioned, because that's your new role at Harry's, right?
Yeah.
So let me just quickly ask, what was your biggest failure when you just mentioned everyone does a failure? What was the time when you did it happen? Or
it happens every day. I mean, truly. I think.
Okay, I'm not talking about spoiling a glass of water.
I think that historically, the failures that I take most personally and that I feel worst about are like failures in hiring the wrong person for a role. I think that is really hard because it's someone else's life. Like, it's not just like your failure. When you hire someone for a role that's not a great fit for them, or you're trying to kind of grow and develop a person into the next role in their career, but it's not the right fit at Harry's, that's really hard. And I think being able to acknowledge that you're amazing, this job is amazing, it's just not an amazing fit. Those are definitely the failures that I think I have taken most personally. But truly every day I do something that I'm like, oh, note to self, I'll do that differently next time.
Let's talk about the social program.
Because
that is something that has changed from the last time when Michael and Christoph visited you, right?
Yes and no. So our social impact has been something that's been really important to Harry's since the very beginning. So one of the things that we learned early on is that razors, shaving supplies, grooming supplies are different than something like glasses or shoes. They're not life-changing unto themselves. Like, you're not going to give someone a razor and they'll then be able to have career opportunities or learning opportunities, or they'll be able to have safety in a way that they wouldn't otherwise. We knew that the one-for-one model, the buy one, give one, for razors doesn't really work. So we've given 1% of sales, but how we've given that 1% of sales has evolved. And as a brand, forget our philanthropy, as a brand, Harry's tries to grapple with this idea of modern masculinity, like modern men, and what it's like to be a man in the world today. And so our focus from a giving perspective has evolved from broadly, let's work with organizations that are addressing this issue and grappling with this issue, to a little bit of a more refined focus towards the area of mental health. And that is because the more we've talked to folks in the space and done research and learned what's going on with men today, the more we realize that mental health is an area where men are really suffering. Men kill themselves at a rate that's 3.5 times their female peers. And some men are specifically at risk there, and we think it has a lot to do with the stereotypes around masculinity. Men have to be strong, they can't ask for help. Part of what's useful is actually doing some more research to understand that.
Plus, our roles as women has also changed dramatically over the past year, which I'm personally, I'm a working mom. But still, I'm not sure if what does that do to men, to us,
to the family,
to the
society,
etc. Maybe it's a very good question.
All of that. And so we think that there's a lot of pretty impactful work we can do there. So we are committed to, in the next two or so years, by 2021, trying to serve 500,000 men and help give them access to the mental health care that they need. Whether that's directly or indirectly through our partnerships with organizations. We don't provide these services ourselves. We want to work with people and organizations who are already doing a lot of this good work. And it's something that we think is a really impactful way of talking about men and masculinity and having a real impact in a pretty life-changing way for a lot of guys. So we've started to do work already. We had a Veterans Day campaign where we worked with 2 organizations, Headstrong and Stop Soldier Suicide, raising awareness around the issue of PTSD for veterans specifically in the UK.
I read that you sent me an article or something.
And in the UK we worked with an organization called Calm. In the future we'll continue to try to refine that focus and hopefully move the needle. If 500,000 guys are getting access to care and services and awareness and resources that they didn't have before, we think there can be a really positive effect, not just on men, but on communities and the world. So that's our focus moving forward, and we're really excited to not give people razors, but actually give people care that we think can be life-changing. So it's been something that's been really important, and that's the financial side. I can talk a little bit more about who our partners are and how we think about our focus, but that's a real commitment of today millions of dollars a year. And then there's our team side. So in addition to giving money, which we think is really important.
Almost getting goosebumps at that.
Well, just wait till you hear about how our team gets involved. This is, for me, what feels like really kind of special and creates a culture of giving is we offer every person on our team, on top of holidays and vacation days and sick days, 5 paid days to volunteer. To give back during, it could be at night or on a weekend if that's the way that they want to approach it, or it could be during the workday. And we curate opportunities, Maggie curates opportunities to to offer our team great ways to give back. And we think that it does a couple things. It just connects people to the world. It's a good thing to do. It does good in the world, and that in and of itself is a social good. And then we also think it creates a community here at Harry's that that is really strong. I mean, if you think about volunteering together, how much more powerful is that than like a happy hour and, you know, having a couple drinks with your coworkers?
What are things that people do, like just to give us some examples?
Yeah, just on Friday, I was in a courtroom in Queens doing what we call court watching through a program called the Bail Project and the Bronx Freedom Fund, where you take notes during arraignments so that the court system can have better data about who actually gets bail and what is bail set at, so that we can have better data around race and class and gender in the court system. People yesterday from Harry's went to a local organization where they were helping them prepare for their Christmas holiday for the folks that they serve. So we've done everything from the traditional kind of soup kitchen, working in classrooms, cleaning up trash, like what the more traditional side of the community service world. And then we've also been able for some folks to curate really great skills-based volunteering opportunities. So some folks from our marketing team who work in customer insights actually ran a focus group for a nonprofit partner where they were able to help them to find a strategy for addressing and reaching their target demographic. And so we've done a lot. We have today over a third of our team has given their time this year, and
but
hundreds
you not
of hours.
only give your time, but then you also give your knowledge in a way, right?
That's right. I mean, in the best, most, I think, like impactful cases, that's right. What we've also learned, though, and this is kind of nerding out on like nonprofit, like world stuff, but it's not. Sometimes skills-based volunteering is hugely impactful for an organization if they already have a project where they need help and they would have to pay someone else internally or externally to do that work. Sometimes skills-based volunteering isn't what they need. They just need extra hands to help at a soup kitchen or cleaning up a classroom or a school. And so we try to not be overly prescriptive. We want to help however the nonprofit tells us is genuinely most impactful and productive for their bottom line. So we intentionally curate both of those opportunities. Skills-based opportunities where people are using their talents to directly impact a nonprofit, and then also volunteer opportunities that might have nothing to do with what they do every day, but really help serve a nonprofit.
Wow. What does it do to the people, to the culture?
I think it's really special. We're still trying to figure out a good way to measure this. We're a very kind of data-driven company, and so we're still trying to say, how does this directly impact our measures around engagement and satisfaction? But what we found is that qualitatively, folks who have given time love it. They say that it's how they've met lots of new people on the team. They think it's a very productive and impactful way to spend their time. They say that they feel more energized about working at Harry's and for doing whatever their day job work is after being able to kind of step outside of themselves and give. So we think that it's hugely impactful, and the research in the world agrees. So lots and lots of research says that millennials especially, but really folks of all generations, want to work for a company that gives back and does good in the world, and that drives everything from engagement to retention over time. It makes closing a candidate easier. Lots of people in our recruiting conversations cite our social mission as a reason they're interested in Harry's.
Okay.
And then at the end of the day, we think it's something that like builds a lot of community and love for Harry's, and then for each other as a team, and more broadly for the world. So we think it's kind of like a win-win-win-win-win.
Yeah, it looks like 100 times win, actually. How do you, you were just talking about the recruiting, how do you recruit people? Like,
for
your team, your team, because it seems like it's such a family-ish atmosphere.
Yeah. We recruit folks any way we can. So we're growing really, really quickly. Yeah. And with that there's a real challenge around recruiting exceptionally high caliber folks. The challenge with the family atmosphere is that diversity and inclusion is really important to us. So we want to make sure that while referrals are a really important part of our network, we're not just hiring people like us. whatever like us means, whether that's from the same background or from the same school or from the same gender or ethnicity. We want to make sure that we're reaching outside of our immediate personal network so that we can really have a diverse team. Because all the research shows that diverse teams perform better over time, they're better problem solvers, they're more innovative. So that's something that's a real focus, kind of company-wide.
Nice, but you also still need to have things in common, right? Because otherwise it would probably...
Yeah, that's right. And for us, those are our values. So we have 4 core values at Harry's, and we're very careful in recruiting to say, never say if that person's a culture fit.
What are the values?
So the values are a little bit in a vocabulary that's specific to Harry's.
Okay.
So I'll tell you,
do we need to write it down?
Should we write them down?
Yeah, we should. If it's
do
special words, we need to write it down.
Okay, we'll write it down. So I feel like I'm a teacher now. I'm like in class. So we have, really at the core of our values is this idea of like customer at the core. It's not a value unto itself. Oh no, my handwriting is gonna have a terrible
We'll have it translated.
Yeah.
Subtitled.
Please do. Make it look like I have beautiful handwriting. So the idea behind, that pen also doesn't work.
We can read it, it's fine.
You can read it?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. The idea behind customer at the core is that it's not a value unto itself, but it's something that is our focus, and it really drives everything that we do. We want to create things that people like more, and that is kind of our mission. So one of our values, I was mentioning this before, it's improve always. And the idea behind this is that we really are a culture of learning. It makes my job in learning and development really fun because it's something that is kind of inherent to who we are, and it's aspirational. It's something that we want to continue to invest in. This is one that is very much a Harry's-ism, but we call it embrace the mammoth. And it's based on a phrase that I don't know if it translates in German, but in English, the phrase like "embrace the elephant in the room" is when there's like something that's like awkward and right there.
Yeah, we call it the pink elephant.
Exactly. Yeah. So the mammoth, again, as kind of our fun Harry's creature, is our way of saying like have direct conversations, like be honest, be open, be vulnerable with each other. Don't be afraid to have hard conversations and to do it from a place of good intent. We have look left to find right. For us, it's all about like, we want to be innovative.
Yeah, just look over the, yeah.
But not for innovation's sake. So sometimes the tried and true path is actually the best way to go. And so a good example I always use is acquiring our factory. For razor blades, it was really important that we thought exceptionally creative about this challenge, and we decided to actually purchase our factory. For something that, for another product, we might not need to purchase 100 factories for everything we make. Like, it's like, when do you need to be creative, and when can you go with kind of a tried and true way of doing something? And so that's our take on innovation, is that it's hugely important, but you also don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. That's a lot of wasted time. And then last but certainly not least, we have all in, all together. And that is something that feels very true to our culture here at Harry's. Yeah. We are a team. Yeah. We are in an open office. We trust each other. We win together. We lose together. Thank you. We're in it together, and we were talking about failure earlier. I think this value, combined with improve always and embracing the mammoth and acknowledging when something's not going right and maybe thinking creatively to improve it, but this allows us to fail in a way that is supported. And it is never about me being better than the person next to me. It's like, how can I help the person next to me? And those are our values. And so when we talk about interviewing people and bringing people onto our team, we're testing for these things and talking about these things in a pretty explicit way. So someone could live each of these things in a very different way. They could come from a different background, they could have a different set of experiences, but if that is a set of values that they have lived throughout their life and career, chances are they're going to be a pretty good fit here at Harry's.
How do you find out, if those are, if they don't only talk about it, but they really live those values?
I'll interview you and see if you, tell me about a mistake you've made and what you learned from it.
Me?
Yeah.
One mistake I've made is that I didn't look enough closely to myself, right? Like I look at other things and I look at the world around me, and everyone should be happy and good and performing and everything, and I don't look to myself. What I need and what's good for me. So I think I probably learned, and I was really trying to be really. I was starting to be very egoistic in a way, and that didn't feel good.
Interesting.
Over a long time. So
how have you changed your?
Yeah, because I had this moment when my daughter, she's turning 4. She was standing next to me at the window, and we were saying goodbye to Christoph, who lives we live on the 4th floor, and he was downstairs getting in a car. And I accidentally ran into the wall or something, and she's like, "Oh, mommy, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Why do you apologize?" And she said, "Because you said aua." And I'm like, "You didn't do anything. I did something to myself." And then she's like, "Well, then you have to apologize to yourself." And that's something at the moment hit me, and I'm like, okay, that is something that people don't do. They're not really, they should be forgiving with everyone, but also forgiving with yourself. So.
I love that. And if that was an interview situation, which it's not, I just enjoyed hearing about you, but that's living our values in a lot of ways. You were embracing the man. That's a real kind of vulnerable, honest story. You were introspective. You're thinking about how you can improve and take that insight and live a better life as a result. And so once you have these things in your mind, you start to see it everywhere. That's a super, you could come work at Harry's. That's a lovely story, and also values a lot.
And then also I love blue and your interior and open space. So
your daughter's very wise.
Yeah, that's so funny. Once they start talking, they say so many, I think that's something I learned to be, the last years, I have 2 kids, so being a mother really changed my whole life and myself. And they start talking, it's a time when you have the chance to open up again, and look into it's a different world, but it's such a nice world.
And you see everything through their eyes, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a weird way of doing something.
Yeah, and she just says things, and being grown up, I say, don't sit like that on a chair, sit like that, do this, do that. And then she's no, why? And that's something that also does something magic to my work, for example, in a very funny way. Because when kids play, for example, they're on the floor, they use everything that's in the room, they're being creative, they have new ideas, and we sit on a chair.
This is how you do it.
Your legs straight, you sit up because that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And then there's
on
nothing,
a good day.
Well, surprisingly, there's nothing creative. So get rid of the chairs, get rid of the tables, sit on the floor, do something, and something magic happens. And so that's what I mean by looking over the.
Yeah, the 5 whys is something that I try to sometimes coach or teach people through manager training or through different kind of systems and processes we have here. To get to the root cause of something, say why 5 times. So why is this cup on the table?
Yeah.
Why? And that's a superficial example, obviously, but I think you have to almost have a childlike sense of curiosity to see things in new ways and solve problems in interesting ways.
I'm not there yet, but I'm trying every day.
Yeah, it's interesting though, when you feel when you want to stop saying why, is it because you've actually answered the question, or is it because you feel you're
just annoyed by yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we try to be creative and childlike. I think of myself as a kid a lot of days.
Nice, really nice.
One of the things we learned about people's health at work, well, first of all, an interesting thing we learned through a study we ran is that people's health at work, people's happiness and engagement with work directly impacts their mental health, especially for men. So we ran a survey of thousands of men in the US and in the UK, and the biggest predictor of their mental well-being was their engagement and satisfaction with their job. So we know that we have a real kind of obligation here to create a space that is conducive to people.
How many men work at Harry's actually? Because you're very man-driven, your target group is men.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Is it
It's close to 50-50. It varies a little bit in different groups and some teams, but yeah, we try to be pretty diverse in that way. And something else that we haven't talked about yet, but Harry's ambitions as like a global company is to become not just the Harry's brand, but actually kind of a next generation consumer products company. And so we launched Flamingo, which is a women's brand that serves body hair, body care needs for women, which is really exciting. Google it, shopflamingo.com.
On it.
Get after it. And so the idea is that over time, we're going to launch and build different brands within personal care, all with that customer centricity at the root of it. So we think that's another reason why building a diverse team is really important.
Yeah.
We want lots of people from lots of demographics to use our products, and so our team has to reflect that. One of the things I'll mention is that the workplace, like itself, one of the things we think is pretty conducive to like mental well-being at work and just productivity is different kinds of spaces.
Yeah.
So I'll point that out, but there's conference rooms for kind of focused work. Our stuff is in there, so it's a little bit of a mess, but breakout spaces so that you can have like an unbooked kind of spontaneous meeting out in the open. We'll look at some phone booths and we'll look at some quiet spaces, which also try to create that diversity of type. That's like a type of diversity here, like work style is a mode or a vector of diversity. So we try to address all of that in our physical space.
So some rooms are like, you have the windows.
Some rooms that we try to have, this is like our big room for big meetings, big trainings. We try to have a diversity of size of our rooms, so not every room is the same size. And as you'll see when we walk through the kitchen is a place where
shower.
A little shower in case you want to take a shower selfie. We can like take a selfie. Those are the Flamingo products. So those are women's products.
They are really nice, actually. I was just like, nice.
Yep. And so the office is kind of fun, right? It like reflects our personality. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
No, it doesn't.
We have like a bathrobe
Although
in the middle of
everyone
the
who knows
office.
me knew I would pick it in gray because I'm like,
if you need like a towel, like you can just towel off. It's super fun. We have a robe beneath here.
Where's the bathrobe before?
Yeah, it's kind of a nice bathrobe, right? So you can take pictures, you can have fun. If you have a guest, they can like play around in the office. We don't take ourselves too seriously, as you can tell by my personality.
it's nice how, this is like what you do, so it's here.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Throughout, we try to have like, you even see the murals here, like this is an interesting take on like foaming shave gel coming out of a shave canister. So we try to have like whimsical elements of our products and of our business all around the office. As you can see, people take meetings in the kitchen. It's not just for eating, especially during the day. Sometimes it's
Was
helpful
this
to
the
have...
kitchen where we were?
Yes.
It was like a total mess half an hour
It
ago.
was, yes. We clean up every once in a while. We have an awesome cleaning staff that is like part of our team. They do an amazing job, and they just make sure that the place is really usable so that we can have breakfast in the morning as a team. And then
people get breakfast, or do you bring breakfast? Or?
on Wednesdays, we have our all hands meeting in New York. So we offer bagels and coffee for everyone.
Damn it, we should have come earlier.
Should have come earlier. That's just for the team, so you'd have to join the team, and then you could have access to Wednesday bagels. And then we cater in lunch every Thursday for our team lunch. And then every other day, people bring in their own food. Sometimes teams will order, but we do offer those two kind of team moments to make sure that people are coming together, we're building community, you're meeting new people, you're talking to new people.
Nice.
So this is the kitchen. We'll head this way. I can show you kind of my desk.
There's more meeting rooms over there? Or?
More meeting rooms. I'll show you two things this way. The office is kind of a big triangle, so you can cut through, but different teams sit in different sides of the triangle.
Oh, here's is this the office? No.
Yes, this is a map of the office.
Yeah.
So this is a really helpful tool for new people or for me, because I still sometimes forget where people sit, where you could either search for a conference room and see where it is on the map. This is a real-time, like, Hogwarts-style map of the office. Or you could search for a person. So if you're like, I wonder where Maggie sits, I can go to the M's. Nope, it's last names. I wonder where Maggie sits. You can go down, you can find her name. There's Maggie. And so it has a little picture of her.
Is it live? Like, is it, do you?
No, that would be too crazy. If it was like, Maggie's now walking into the bathroom. No, that's like a breach of privacy.
Get the data security.
I want my headshot on that, not my day-to-day look.
But it's her seat, so if you need to drop something off, this is where she sits.
Nice. And we're here right now.
Yes, exactly. So this is where we are right
So
now.
this is the elevators.
Yep, this is T-Rex, that big conference room.
Oh, that one we just saw.
The big, yeah, exactly, right behind us. And you can see the names of these other conference rooms. So we were in Giraffe. The print correlated with the print over there.
This is the open space.
This is the office, like the seating space. So we have an open air environment. So everyone, even our co-founders, sit in the open. No one has an office. So this is where a bunch of people sit. Each one of these little dots is someone's desk. And that's where you can then click in and you can see, oh, that's where Jeff Rader, one of our founders, sits. So you can see where everyone is. You see a little picture of them. And then the open spaces, like here's our cafe. So it says this is where the cafe is. For all of these meetings, meeting rooms, you can book them. And our amazing workplace experience team helps actually manage a lot of that. So there are some rooms that they help us book or plan events for. They help make sure that the office is always a place that is conducive to our best work.
Yeah. Nice.
They're a great team. They have a hard job, but
Yeah.
they do it really well.
How many, you said you have, how many people, 370?
No, 270.
270 on this space?
Between 275 and 300.
Does everyone have a fixed desk?
Everyone does have a fixed desk.
And then you also have meeting rooms and...
Exactly. Oh, here's an interesting piece. This is Brian, the most fun person in the entire office.
Hello.
Brian keeps everything running.
That's what I do. Welcome to Harry's.
That's what he does. This is our IT help desk. We don't actually have to ask anything, don't worry, Mike, but our IT team is amazing. And
do we have any IT questions?
Do you have IT questions?
That one would be funny.
You can come up and ask Mike, who's super helpful. Any questions? And yeah, it's just like a really nice service. If like your computer's broken and you're going crazy, you see me at my worst.
But it's happening
for sure.
So it's really about hardware topics here.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
about software questions or
both.
Like like everything. What do you use to? Because you also have to collaborate a lot with the other locations, right? What do you use for? You in G Suite or Microsoft or
G Suite? Yeah.
G Suite. Yeah, all locations.
All locations. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. There's some supplemental tools that other teams use, but we
As in.
like Box for some file sharing,
Yeah.
some separate like enterprise technologies and systems like SAP. But yeah, for the most part, we do a lot of our day-to-day transactional things through G Suite. Yeah. So when I was mentioning like the kind of history of Harry's, down this hallway we can like go down and see throughout.
So now we're on the other side of the triangle, right?
We're on the another side of the triangle. That's right. This hallway has a bunch of conference rooms, and then on every panel here, so we have 3 or 4 panels, we have pictures from the history of Harry's. So these are from some of our past campaigns and partnerships. This is a Tom Brown razor that's a gold razor.
Oh wow!
Which is a very fancy option. We had a shoot with Jimmy Chin, who is an amazing National Geographic photographer and kind of mountaineer, I don't know, climber, amazing outdoorsman. And so we have a bunch of cool images from the history of Harry's down here.
Nice.
So I mentioned the Germany side of the world. So on this first panel,
it's nice, you know,
we have one of my favorite pictures.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So this is Mr. Becker, who was the chairman of the factory when we purchased Fine Technic, and he's been in some of our commercials, and he's a great guy. He's like 10 feet tall.
It almost like makes me cry to see that, you know, a family-run business in a way with such a history and tradition gets the chance to be lifted in the new age, in the new work with a handcrafted.
Yeah, it's been really cool. So the factory in Germany has been around for a really, really long time. Most recently, before Harry's, they were run by a private equity firm. So some people in this factory have been there for truly like generations. Like there's a couple like second and third, even third generation folks. There's people, you know, who met each other and have gotten married there, and it's a small town. It feels like a small town. So it's been really cool to like see that and be a part of that. And I've like made some wonderful friends from our team in Germany. You know, it's a special place and it's a special team.
Yeah. It's nice how you make, well, two things I notice about the space. One thing is, and it's something that you don't see, but it's more about the feeling. You feel the family is very family-ish. I don't know how to. It's cool.
This is nice, right? This is what we call the living room. This is the living room. I mean, I think that it is in a way like people are.
Flamingo.
Yep. People are just good people. I think in part the value all in all together is it's not necessarily a family, but it's people who genuinely care about each other and who are doing work towards kind of like a similar goal and end. So that's really fun.
But then what I also notice is it's really busy without being busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it feels like everyone is very productive.
Yeah.
But it's not like you get distracted or something.
That's good. That's a goal. We want it to be kind of open and collaborative and exciting and energetic without being like frenetic or you know, chaotic or stressful.
No. It doesn't feel like that at all.
Cool. That's great. Well, I'll show you one other area that you might be interested in. It's our quiet area.
Nice.
So the quiet area is the place, because things can be like a little bit crazy. It's a place that is.
What are the crazy times? Like, when does it go crazy? Because you're not really connected to like Christmas season and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily like a time of year so much as it is like a time of day, or like the different teams have their own rhythms, and it can just feel like if you're sitting at your desk, there's like a lot going on. So sorry guys. This is the Flamingo team. We were talking about Flamingo. This is Allie, who runs Flamingo, and the PR team. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
2 times in 1 week?
Or it's the best.
2 weeks. Yeah.
It feels like a week. Was that last week?
Yeah, I think so.
Whoa.
Or maybe,
Yeah, it must have been because it's Wednesday.
Did the dog just run around here? Or
Yeah,
does it
he's
disappear?
sometimes. We should actually be especially quiet here. I'm being a bad example. So this is our quiet area. So this is a place for people. Yeah, exactly. It says shh. So it's a place for people to be able to sit in one of these kind of little areas and do just focused, quiet work. If someone needs a little bit of a break from the cafeteria or the craziness of everything, if you have to like really plug into a project or something, these little kind of nooks are a great way to do that.
So can I just?
You can peek in, sure. Yeah. Hey, Banks, come here. It's like good job.
I was there before.
Good job, Banksy. So this is Banks, who really is emotional support. His mom is Michelle, who works on the retail team. But he comes in and like we kind of joke that he's an emotional support dog, but like he really is. It makes you feel like just a break in the
Are
day.
pets allowed in general, or just he is because he has a specific training or something? Or?
Yeah, he has a specific like certification. He's a certified good boy, and so he gets to come in here.
He can behave.
He can behave, exactly. Isn't that right, Banksy? So he can be here. He kind of roams around. He does his own thing. He's a super good boy. Yeah, we're talking about you. So that's Banks.
It's funny because all the offices that we see that have a good calm culture, there are dogs.
Yeah,
and I
interesting.
don't have dogs, and I'm not connected to dogs personally.
Yeah.
But I saw that so many times now.
Yeah.
It really is.
We have a couple, and I think it's a really nice. It just brings a good energy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to be quiet here too because people are doing work. But we have these what we call phone booths, and someone's in actually both of these, but what they are is like little like enclosures where you can take a phone call or two people can sit down.
Which ones are you using, or did you build it yourself? No.
We built this ourselves. I don't know if we worked with a kind of designer or architect to do this, or if this was really just our
We're
own.
actually meeting Get Room today. Have you met them?
No, but I know what they do. They build little
I love their
structures.
Instagram account. That's
Yeah.
actually how we met.
Yeah, so this is, we'll get out of the workspace because this is where people are trying to like do work. Jeremy's trying to do work. Jeremy has a standing desk, which is cool. Yeah, we try to be flexible in terms of the different desking options. This is our marketing team.
And I can see that everyone brings his or her own things to the...
Yeah. We have little printing rooms. These are kind of cool. So this is where we have a coat room for people to drop their things and printing, and then supplies.
Oh, so you don't have all this stuff
at your desk.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have little like supplies that you would need, a bunch of supplies in there, and it's pretty self-serve. Like we try to make it really easy for our team to get whatever they need to be successful.
Yeah.
There's Bing. Okay, should we go back to our room?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you guys get what you needed?
Totally. It was like a lot more.
Good.
Then I thought, yeah.
Awesome.
Now we run into your friend again.
Yeah, see, Brian, Chief of
Happiness.
Chief Happiness Officer, yeah. Chief Happiness Officer. He also works at Barclay Center, where he does, like, he like hypes up the crowd and does like...
he really is like
he
chief of...
literally is. Like, he works in our mail, he like manages our mail room, so that when people get a package or lunch, it's actually like delivered to their desk, which is really nice. I feel like we're fancy because we do that. And so Brian manages that program where he manages all like outgoing and incoming like mail and receivables and packages and everything like that, lunches, food.
How is that organized? Like when things come in, like he just collects it in one room and then he brings it to the people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has a small team now that helps because there's so many people. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. He's the one who like knows everyone's name. He's like just a burst of sunshine.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's Harry's.
That's Harry's, and I really want to start working here.
Everyone can go to jobs.harrys.com. There are jobs in Germany and in the US and in the UK. So I mean, I hope that that's part of what this did is.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We're proud of the culture.
Yeah, it feels really good to be here. Thank you so much for taking time, both of you.
Yeah, I'm excited about that you guys are interested in the social mission side. Yeah. It's something that, like, it's Maggie's full-time role is to head our impact programs, and I work with her on some of that as well. And it's something that I'm just particularly proud of. I think Harry's is special in that we like really put our money where our mouth is when it comes to our giving, and we haven't talked about it as much as I think we could have like historically, and so it's fun for us to talk to people who care about culture and who care about workplace and who are interested in these topics, because it's something that's really important to us.
Yeah, again, and it's also, again, I can only point this out, it's never about chairs and tables, it's always, it always starts with the culture.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can have the most fanciest, best office with all technology and most fancy furniture and everything. If your culture is not like good.
Yeah.
I read a quote this morning that said, people never leave a good job. People always leave bad bosses. Like and it, like in a way that all bad culture, bad bosses culture, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true.
Bad jobs, bad culture. I mean, you got what I meant.
Yeah, no, and people always, like, a bad culture is toxic, and we spend too much of our time at work.
Yeah.
to not enjoy the people you're with, to not feel like you're supported in your space.
Yeah. You should do keynotes in Germany about that topic.
I know. I mean, I think that like some places, the topic of like new work is really interesting to me, because I think there's like a group of people who kind of get it and who get that like the like workplace and work culture is changing, and I think that those will be the companies that ultimately succeed. Like, talent is everything. Creative talent is everything.
I absolutely agree, and I also agree for what you said earlier. It's always about giving up ego and giving up hierarchies. and a lot of people, especially in Germany, are still stuck in a very top-down, like sort of work mentality, old structures, and it won't work. That way.
And we've learned a lot from the factory too. I think like there is something to be said for like clear decision makers, clear processes, detailed, structured thinking and work. So I think that like that, hopefully that like symbiotic relationship between the kind of German, like I would say like probably like more rigid, defined, hierarchical culture and Harry's, which is a crazy Wild West startup. I think that somewhere in the middle is probably actually the like most effective way to work.
But
and
it
so
also needs both worlds.
Yeah.
It needs protectors of the good and the old and the like things that have worked, and it needs the rebels, like people who you know. So
I think we have a little bit of each of that in our
do.
culture.
too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was really,
it was fun.
nice.
Thank you guys. It was good to see you again.